Listen, TRT protocols fail for more than one reason, but I want to break down some of the main reasons that they fail. The real important question, or the precursor for this question, would be how do they fail? Why do they fail? That's the question to ask to uncover what's wrong when TRT protocols fail and how to fix it. Look, TRT protocols fail in these disastrous ways. Number one, they give you erectile dysfunction. Yes, TRT protocols situated in a way which doesn't factor in the right hormone balance for you in a not properly dialed in fashion will give you erectile dysfunction. Number two, they can nuke your libido. Again, the wrong situated TRT protocol. Maybe it's the wrong ester for you. It's the wrong hormone balance. You're crushing the estrogen a little too much. We're going to get into all this stuff. TRT protocols that are not right for you are going to nuke your libido. Number three, they give you anabolism and energy, so you're super strong and look great and feel good at the gym, but destroy your sexual function. So here you are looking great, growing and putting mass on and progressively overloading in the gym, but you've got libido and erection problems. And then number four, they destroy your emotional health and your sleep. Those are the primary ways that TRT protocols go wrong, and I want to break down them individually to talk about why this happens and how to fix it. All right, number one, they give you ED. So a bad protocol, bad TRT protocol is going to give you erectile dysfunction. This is just true. I've seen this over and over again in my tenure as a TRT coach. And the hallmark of ED on TRT is a skewed DHT estrogen balance. Listen, on TRT, and generally speaking, DHT needs to be pretty high. Above 55 nanograms per deciliter is a good reference point. You might end up finding that you need to be super physiologic, so 90, 100, 120, 130 nanograms per deciliter. Testosterone itself does not really contribute to erectile function. You could have super physiologic test of 1,000 or 1,200 or 1,500, but if that DHT for whatever reason isn't high enough to support erectile quality, you're not going to have good erection function. At the same time, estradiol or estrogen needs not to be extremely high or high at all. I mean, the truth about estrogen is you need no more than high normal and no less than high normal. If estrogen is at 45 plus picograms per milliliter, remember that the Quest range stops at 29 picograms per milliliter, above which you are supraphysiologic in estradiol. So if estrogen's at 45 plus and DHT is lukewarm, somewhere in the middle, like 45, 55, even 60 nanograms per deciliter, that's usually not enough of a good balance between DHT and estrogen to facilitate proper erections. Remember, all this stuff regarding numbers, what it's really moving toward is what's happening at the penile tissue. And locally, if there's not enough dominance of dihydrotestosterone to foster nitric oxide synthase and nitric oxide mediated erectile function, as well as the strength of the endothelium and the function of the chambers that fill up with blood when you get an erection, you will have erectile dysfunction on TRT. Now look, sometimes 25 milligrams a day of Proviron solves that problem. Sometimes 50 milligrams or 100 milligrams, call it 50 to 100 milligrams of Primobolan per week on top of your TRT protocol reduces the estradiol just enough to get it in the right hormone ratios for your body and for proper erectile function. And sometimes just switching to scrotal cream from like whatever you might be on, say you're using testosterone cypionate and you can't get these ratios right, it creates the perfect ratio for you. By just putting it on the scrotum, you get a lot more DHT. You end up at 25 or 30 estradiol, and there isn't much work otherwise that you have to do. That's why cream is so awesome. So listen, if you can craft a protocol where DHT lands in the upper end of the range or slightly higher, with estradiol high normal, no more, and no less, that's where your body knows how to make erections on TRT. Okay, you've got to think about your body, like, how does it know how? In what conditions does it know how to make erections? It doesn't know how to make erections when estrogen's super high and you don't have enough DHT. At the same time, it doesn't know how to make erections when you have enough DHT, but estrogen's super high. It doesn't know how to do it that way, right? It's got to really struggle to make that happen. You're going to have to do Cialis and among other things to make that even work. Why not just situate your protocol in a way that makes sense with high DHT, high normal estrogen, and right off into the sunset? All right, number two, again, they nuke your libido. Okay, bad TRT protocols nuke your libido. Look, libido on TRT is one of the most tricky things that people have a huge problem with. Libido requires hormones to be in a very tight window. Libido also requires you to have functional testicles so that the entirety of the system is intact. Testosterone doesn't just like act as the full sex hormone optimizing agent, right? There's a whole microenvironment in the testicles that contributes to good sexual function. It's the neurosteroidal support, DHA, pregnenolone, progesterone. It's test, DHT, estradiol in the testicles. I mean, they have their own balance of that as well. Let's talk about other ways libido gets nuked on TRT. If you overshoot estrogen control, okay, we all know that we've got to have estrogen in a tight range in order for libido to function. The body only knows how to create libido and erections when estrogen is high normalish and you've got a lot of DHT. But if you overshoot estrogen control with AIs or DHT derivatives like Primobolan, Masteron, even Proviron, if you're taking 75 milligrams Proviron a day, you could overshoot the estrogen control. What you end up doing in those cases is shutting down the estrogenic signaling too much. And then no matter how much DHT you have, your libido is going to take a hiatus, right? TRT protocols go wrong when you overshoot estrogen control. At the same time, if a protocol is constructed in a way which makes it too DHT centric, people can do this. They go on scrotal cream. They're using 25 milligrams Proviron a day, and they're also using some exogenous DHT. Well, in that case, you have like, again, estrogen needs to be kind of high normal. You need to have the estrogen signaling. You then have a total overload of dihydrotestosterone and its associated androgen signaling, and not enough estrogen signaling. That is going to kill your libido. We do need estrogen to have libido. Listen, here's the bottom line. If you're having a hard time dialing it on TRT, there are 3 products that you've got to consider. Number 1, Mastering Libido and Erections on TRT, the Sexual Function Playbook. This is a digital downloadable guide that breaks down with every ester imaginable how to dial in the sex hormones, the DHT to estrogen ratio in a tight window where you walk away with youthful sexual function. You can get this product in under a minute at livecortex.com or down in the description of this video. This is the official playbook, the rule book for sexual function on TRT. Number 2, TRT coaching. Look, if you don't want to go through the rigmarole of dialing in sexual function, just hire me. Listen, we will fix the libido, the erections, the sensation, and the climax issues. I am a 7-year expert on this. I've been coaching people for almost a decade. And through a tailored protocol engineering process working one-on-one with me for 3 or 6 months or a singular one-off call, we'll fix the sexual dysfunction. Lastly, if you want templates that do work, that you can carefully dial in further, grab the video course Mastering Testosterone Cream for Libido and Erections and dial in sexual function on Test Cream and don't look back. Look, to fix libido issues on TRT, you need to work on getting estrogen in that high normal range. I mean, really, estrogen is the governor of libido insofar as if it's too high, it's going to nuke your libido. If it is too low, it's going to nuke your libido even worse. I like to use Quest's range as a reference, okay? The top of Quest's diagnostics range on serum estradiol for men is 29 picograms per milliliter. If you can simply use that as a reference, keep your DHT high, get the estrogen right at the top of Quest's range, you're going to have great libido on TRT. Again, at the same time, TRT seldom works with just TRT alone. Remember, testosterone replacement is not full hormone replacement. TRT is not HRT. Okay, I mean, if you're getting on TRT, you shouldn't just be looking to replace testosterone. You got to replace the function of the gonads too, and all the systems therein. A lot of people have a hard time making HCG work. It's usually because it's taking estrogen over their range or they're dosing it too infrequently in too many boluses at once. But ultimately, you've got to have the microenvironment of hormones in the testicles functional for you to have libido intact on TRT. Don't oversuppress estrogen. Yeah, look, if you need to control it, first try uber microdosing Arimidex, Aromacin, Primobolan, or Masteron, right? And the absolute lowest doses possible, giving it a week each time you make an adjustment, noting where your symptoms are and where things land, and then continuing to adjust from there. And again, don't let estrogen surge way past the sex-friendly zone. If it's at 55, 60, it's going to start inhibiting dopamine firing in the sex regions of the brain, and you're going to have no libido. You follow those instructions, you keep your hormones in a tight window, you'll have libido on TRT. Number 3, again, they give you anabolism, but destroy sexual function. This is actually an extremely common scenario where you'll have guys that are jacked, they look great, they're strong, they're extremely lean, they're super anabolic. There is nothing wrong with their performance and they actually physically feel great, but they have ED. Right, the reason behind that is basically what I had just described prior, basically throughout this entire video. You've got loads of testosterone, which is what drives anabolism. But remember, testosterone is converting to two other hormones, and those hormones are actually what matters for your sexual function. The test, that's going to give you anabolism. Like no matter what, testosterone is going to make you anabolic, but it doesn't guarantee that you're going to convert to the right ratio in DHT and estradiol. Usually the doses or the protocols that give you massive anabolism but destroy your sexual function are high doses of any ester. But let's call it cypionate. Anything above 175 are the type of doses that make you anabolic as hell but destroy your sexual function, right? Because up there, no matter what, if you're using even the baseline of HCG, call it 100 IU a day, you're going to be over aromatizing into estradiol. And that's going to skew the DHT estrogen balance. So those doses, although they give you anabolism, but they make you limp and kill your libido, they necessitate modification. If you're going to stay up that high in doses to get all that anabolism, you can't necessarily have your cake and eat it too easily. You're going to have to surgically dial in Arimidex, surgically dial in Aromasin, surgically dial in Masteron, surgically dial in Primobolan. Bad TRT protocols, especially those ultra high dose TRT protocols, they're going to give you crazy anabolism but destroy your sexual function. And if you want to keep that anabolism, you're really going to have to dial in the estrogen. Lastly, they destroy your emotional health and your sleep. Right? This is another reason that TRT protocols fail, because you might even feel good sexual function wise, but you're overstimulated, right? You have no trough at all in hormones. Androgen receptors are constantly being stimulated and you can't sleep. Another case is where estrogen is problematic. The estrogen is entirely too high. And instead of being like a cool, calm, stoic, centered, masculine man, especially like to your wife or a girlfriend or a woman in your life, you instead behave a lot more like a woman, an estrogenic woman. That's your TRT protocol failing you and destroying your emotional health. Listen, elevated estradiol not only makes erections and libido difficult to dial in on TRT, but it also skews your emotional state much more in favor of how women behave. You'll be a little more aggressive, you'll be reactive, you will be emotionally volatile. Hormones being out of whack, specifically DHT, estrogen, will not only cause sexual dysfunction, but they're going to cause emotional disturbances as well. Okay, and if your TRT protocol is not designed to keep estrogen high normal with pretty high DHT, functional testicles, you're going to have these imbalances. I mean, if you're sitting at 65 picograms per milliliter of estradiol, this is not a particularly healthy level of estrogen for a male to sit at in terms of mental health. People are going to notice that you're a little more volatile or a lot more volatile emotionally. You don't sleep right. You're stressed more than normal. This is the kind of thing that estrogen does to us males. We're not equipped to have it in large quantities. Okay, so bad TRT protocols destroy your emotional health via estrogen being out of whack, and can destroy your sleep via too much androgens, too much estrogen, or too much of both. Dialing in TRT should be you looking at the various esters we have available and the various ancillaries we have available to us and perfecting a tailored, perfect protocol for your physiology. That's how you make TRT work. And look, if you need to know more about how to do that, again, Mastering Libido and Erections, the TRT Sexual Function Playbook, that product was created exactly for that purpose, loaded with adjustment strategies and protocols to find your perfect TRT sweet spot. Let's talk about cream. Again, dialing on cream can be challenging. It's not just that you put whatever amount of scrotal cream on the boys and you're just going to be perfectly dialed in. You're going to have to adjust. You're going to have to find the perfect protocol. That's why I created a video course that shows you from a 7-year coach's perspective on TRT, the right templates to use and how to adjust those TRT templates to perfection. Get Mastering Testosterone Cream for Libido and Erections now. It is a video course. It is 20% off. The code for that is in the description of this video. And look, if you need one-on-one private coaching to resolve libido, erection, sensation, climax issues, sexual dysfunction on TRT, which is a lot more common than you'd think, bring me on board and hire me for coaching. This is all I do. We will engineer a protocol tailored to your physiology, specifically to fix erections, libido, sensation, and climax on TRT. You can either have 30 minutes of my time on a single session call with a protocol generation of 3 to 5 action routes, 3 whole months. This is one-on-one private coaching for long duration periods to square away serious sexual dysfunction, or 6 months for the more advanced stuff that hasn't responded to many, many attempts to fix it regarding libido and erection problems. You can hire me in under a minute. We're on the fact-finding call as soon as the next day. I'd love to work with you and fix these challenges once and for all so you can ride off into the sunset and go live your life again. All these protocols, including the link to book me for coaching, can be found in the description of this video. All right, my brothers in test, it has been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you. Please like the video. It makes a huge difference to the algorithm, would mean a lot to me. Otherwise, sub to the channel. A lot of our new viewers are just that, new viewers, and not previously subscribed viewers. So I'd love to have you on board as a sub. We've talked about this stuff forever, and we'll continue to evolve and talk about this stuff forever in the time continuum. Love to have you on board. Otherwise, kick ass, rock on, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you on the next one.